The Crystal Lake Herald also reported the mortality rate of television aerials was high throughout the area. The J.P. Lane residence was on Virginia, just west of the Crystal Lake Plaza, about where the Burger King is today. And this photo shows a side view of the damage to the Lane house. Dr. Lane was a veterinarian. This property had been occupied by Dr. Lane since 1907 when he began his practice in Crystal Lake. Dr. Lane died in 1961, so he never lived to see the destruction of his beautiful home. And here's one last photo of the Lane residence. Little problem up front, too. Crystal Lake's fire rescue chief in 1965 was Harold Krecker. In those days, it was an all-volunteer department. Here's what Mr. Krecker had to say about April 11, 1965.
It was a different day. We didn't know. We weren't trained then like the training you have now. I mean, we just all these farmers came into town. You know, that's what they were, mostly farmer boys, and we just we did what we had to, and everybody stepped in and took off that way. I mean, one went this way, one went that way, and everybody knew what they had to do. And thank God they did a hell of a job.
You were chief of fire rescue at the time. How long had you been chief?
30 days. Mm-hmm. I should have get in my car and went south and not stop for the border.
So you were a volunteer also while you were chief?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So everybody on the fire department was a volunteer
yes.
at that time?
Mm-hmm. Everything was volunteer, yeah. And all these guys were all volunteers. And they came from all over, you know. Gilbert had two of them come out of his place when the fire was blew, and Hank Heinrich came over there, and I came out of Orange Beach, and we just came from Ace Hardware, had one or two there. We had quite a few around town here in Jonesville.
So would you have all gathered then at City Hall where the fire trucks were?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how many trucks did you have at that time?
4.
What kind of trucks were they?
One engine was a convertible, and one regular engine, and a tank truck, and a grass truck, I think, is all we had.
Okay. And then, so the trucks and the guys, once you gathered, started to go to where the tornado hit the most?
Couldn't get there.
Couldn't get there. Would you try down Main Street?
Yes, it was toward the holes all over the place out there. And we finally went around this way, got to the backside, got down 14 this way, you know, down the backside. And then by that time, all the firemen were there with their volunteers with the cars and everything. They were geared on and doing what they had to. I mean, they were doing what they thought they had, you know.
Were there many fires after the tornado hit, or was it more just tangled messes?
Tangled messes. I think there was a small fire at the gas line or something somewhere in some building, but that was it. There was no big fire.
Would you have had to run around and turn off the gas to each of these structures? How does that kind of thing work?
We had a guy work. One of these volunteers was a gas man, so we didn't worry about turning off the meters because he knew how to do it, and he had them all done, I think, right away.
Ray Goss's property was located near the corner of Virginia Road and Route 14. If you look carefully behind the wreckage, you can see a few houses from Coventry subdivision. There's like an office park on Virginia Road right now. That's about where his house was, but see the Coventry houses back behind. Ray Goss was a strong supporter of youth. He felt they needed a safe place to play. So despite the fact that his own children were grown, Ray Goss totally remodeled the interior of a large barn into a full-size basketball court. The space included a kitchen and a dressing room. Local youth knew they could come to the house, ask permission to use the barn, and then spend hours playing basketball. Often Ray would organize tournaments for the youth during school vacation days. Looks like there was a stove there in the middle of the wreckage. On April 11th, 1965, a group of teens were playing in Ray's barn. Ray Goss saw the storm approaching, and out of concern for the children, he went out to the barn and herded the children back into his basement. Then Ray went back to the barn to make sure it was empty and lock it. On the way back to the barn, the wind struck and toppled the top half of the structure onto him, and he died under the wreckage. Countless children were saved from a similar fate because of Ray's quick thinking and action. Ray Goss was the tornado's first victim in Crystal Lake. Across Route 14 from Ray Goss's place is the intersection of Route 14 and Keith, the Crystal Lake Plaza, and behind that the Colby subdivision. This is the area of Crystal Lake hardest hit by the tornado. And in this photo we're looking east on Route 14. The demolished Standard Oil gasoline station is where the Shell Oil station stands today. And then notice the boat in the foreground. And here's the same boat before it was righted. It overturned off its trailer and landed on Route 14 between the Lang House and Keith Avenue. Here's a closer view of the demolished Standard Oil station. The buildings in the background are part of the Crystal Lake Plaza. And here's another view of the demolished corner looking west from Keith. And if you look behind that telephone pole on the left, you can see Dr. Lang's house in the background. Gives you some perspective of where you are. Most of the photos in this presentation are black and white, and the few color photos were slides whose images were scanned and converted. Here, the police car was used as a roadblock. Ray Redden was on the Crystal Lake Police Department in 1965, and here's how he recalls the first few minutes after the siren went off. It should be noted that this siren went off after the tornado hit. The siren was used to summon emergency personnel.
Good morning. The day of the tornado, I worked 11 at night till 7 in the morning shift. I was a sergeant on the Crystal Lake Police Department. And my wife and mother-in-law and father-in-law, my two kids had left and went to Elgin shopping for clothes for Easter Sunday. And I was laying on the living room floor watching the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers play basketball. When I heard the sirens go off over at Kramer Funeral, because at that time Al Kramer was the head of the Civil Defense of McHenry County. And I called over to the house, and his wife, Catherine, told me that the tornado had hit the south edge of town. So I called the police station, and I got an answer, so I grabbed my weapon and with my uniform and jumped in my car and headed for the police station. And they told me where it was at, and at that time I went over there, and we patrolled there for the next week. There was only a count now how many guys were on the police force. Elmer Fitz, Jack Harrison, Jim Molitor, Ron Milbrand, Dick Behrens, Earl Stoddard, Jim Henneman, and myself. So that would have been 8 of us.
Who was chief?
Elmer Urquhart was the chief of police at that time. Jack Harrison was a sergeant on one shift, and I was a sergeant on the other shift. And we split it up, so we were always patrolling the town for the duration of.
Crystal Lake Plaza Shopping Center was built in 1960. The plaza's anchor store was the Piggly Wiggly supermarket. Other businesses when the plaza opened included Rodin's Decorating, Nelson's Jewelry, and H.C. Stamp and Coin Center. Additionally, the First National Bank of Crystal Lake occupied a corner space in the plaza. By 1965, several additional businesses occupied space in the plaza, including the Chicory, Jensen's Bakery, Broadhead's Flooring, the Plaza Restaurant, Sears, Western Auto, May's Drug, Neisner's Department Store,